What's up, trade pros? Welcome to yet another YouTube video. Hope everyone's doing well. It's Victoria from TRADEPRO Academy. And in today's video, we're going to be doing something interesting. We're going to be talking about market internals. We're going to be talking about one specific thing, breadth. Market breadth. And this is going to be one of the best things you guys have ever seen to identify if a market is either oversold or overbought in a medium to short term. So what I'm going to be explaining throughout this is one main indicator or graph that you guys need to know to find out if breadth is overbought and oversold that can help you understand the market's movement. So if you guys are super excited about this, I want you guys to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that little bell to notify you when we do go live and when we drop videos like these. So why don't we get started and break this down. First and foremost, breadth is a measure of a general market's strength, right? Based on advancing and declining stocks. How many stocks are doing well throughout the day or throughout a specific period of time versus how many are doing poorly. They could be either related on a net basis, related on a moving average basis, whatever the case may be. You want to understand if there are more stocks doing well than stocks doing poorly or vice versa to see if there's actually strength or weakness in the rally or the drop, right? You want to see this specific market internal, which we call breadth, that takes care of the overbought and oversold aspects of the market from an internal perspective. So if you know that there are more stocks going up than down, then you can look at a general index or even assets that are very closely related to that general index and take positions. So what I'm going to do is break down breadth, market breadth on a chart basis, on an indicator basis, and show you guys a super effective way to look for short-term swings, not necessarily intraday moves, short-term to medium-term swings on main indices like the SPY, the triple Qs, and assets that are closely related. Apple, Google, right? Mega cap techs. So why don't we dive right into this? The indicator that we're going to be showing you guys is also a symbol on TradingView. It's called R3TW. It's the Russell 3000, and it shows us how many stocks are above the 20-day moving average on a consistent basis, right? There's 3,000 stocks in this basket, and we're going to see how many are climbing above that 20-day moving average. And this will show us what the relative breadth and strength is in those 3,000 stocks. So 3,000 stocks, if the majority of them are advancing and doing extremely well, this breadth indicator will go up naturally. And if they're doing poorly, it'll go down. Now, the thing with this breadth indicator is there's also, instead of looking at the symbol, you can look at a specific oscillator. That wasn't created by me. I'm not going to take credit. It was created by B. Crossley, right, on TradingView, and it's called breadth.app. So I'm going to lay it out here in the front so you guys can see it. We'll probably drop a link to that TradingView indicator in the description, so go check that out. And what this does, it pretty much pulls the data, the breadth data, from a website called breadth.app. Now, this data shows us on a relative scale the 11 sectors of the S&P 500, right? As you'll see here on the screen, it shows the 11 sectors of the S&P 500 and it ranks them out of a score of 100, right? The max is 100, so it's extreme breadth. There's extreme buying in that there's more advancing stocks in that sector than declining, and down to 0. And then there's an overall score that just adds them all up out of 1100. And from that, this indicator was created, right? So it's just an oscillator, and we'll go through that a little later. But first, I really want to focus on R3TW. So this is a symbol that you can just type into TradingView, and it is a just general chart oscillator, right? So if you look at it here, I'll pop it up on the screen, and you can see that this oscillates between 0 and 100, right? The max on either extreme is going to be 0 or 100. So what this does, it shows us how many stocks are going to be above the 20-day moving average, right? Out of these 3,000 respective stocks, which is the majority of the larger stocks in the market. And from that, we can find areas that price is overbought or oversold. Now, we're going to relate this mainly to the SPY throughout this video. So if we take a look at this, right, realistically on this oscillator, it does go from 0 to 100. However, the extreme 0 and 100 are usually never seen. So what we do instead of this, right, we have the 100 marker is going to be extremely overbought. The 0 marker is going to be extremely oversold. Now, I like to look at it if we're under 10 right, it's extremely oversold. So anything under 10, we start penetrating that area. We're looking for things that are extremely oversold for a bounce. Anything above 80 to 85, I would say, that max threshold is going to get super overbought. And we're going to look for the downside in that specific market, in that general equity sphere. So we have a little range now. So that means when we're overbought, let's say over 85% of the stocks in the Russell 3000 are going to be above their 20-day moving average, right? So that doesn't last very long. When the market gets oversold, there's going to be about 90% of stocks or 10% of stocks that are above their moving average. The 90% are going to be below that 20-day moving average, which tells us that things are getting extremely oversold. So now that we've seen the actual imagery of this, we want to make sure that it makes sense. So what we're going to do here is actually compare them. We're going to go side by side, and we're going to put the R3TW beside the SPY, because keep in mind, we're going to mainly focus on the SPY throughout this. And there are like satellite equities that you can trade around this that are more in sync with the SPY. They're more correlated with the SPY, but this is an amazing tool to look for swing short-term moves on the SPY, being overbought or oversold. So in this image, let's jump right into it. We'll see that there are yellow boxes to begin with. And I've drawn this massive green box at the bottom, this range that shows me anything below is getting really oversold. So I'm looking for a bounce. These yellow boxes are in those oversold areas where I'm looking for an extension to the upside. Now, this isn't going to be like 100% million guarantee, but it's a very high probability that we're going to see a bounce through those areas. Now, let's take a look at these. Each yellow box comes with about a 8 to like 10% bounce in the SPY. Even on these downturns, you can see even the most recent one here in June, we've seen that it literally timed the current bottom from 360s, around low 360s, currently trading 390 on the S&P. If we take a look at the overbought territory, we got those red boxes that literally go just above that 85 mark, and we have the all-time high. We have the most recent high where we got this massive drop off from about 460. And the most recent high based on filming this is around the 410s or so, where we got that next extension to the downside with multiple gaps lower. Another thing to notice about this specific R3TW is that the quickness of which markets get overbought to oversold. Because if you're looking at a general chart, you might think, oh, okay, well, the S&P right now is going to go to 410, blah, blah, blah. But if we get to 400, for example, and we get extremely overbought, at that point, we want to start considering that, hey, we might not see that 410 area. We might not see those areas that we're expecting. So this can really, really tell us how strong the momentum is, what the breadth of the market is, and how we can go about looking for these short-term swings where you can play puts at overbought, you can play calls at oversold, buy equity on the SPY, whatever it is, and even look at names like Apple, Google, Microsoft, like Nvidia, all those guys that really have a close connection to the SPY, and you can trade those names as well. Now, if we take a look at the actual indicator, right, that oscillates based on the breadth.app, it's slightly different from the R3TW, right? There are some differences. We have an oversold area, of course, right, below 10. And then if we get above that 80, it's going to be overbought based on the oscillator. However, this oscillator, just keep in mind, we'll throw this image up right now, it does tend to sit overbought and oversold for an extended period of time. That's why we have these green lines that show up. These green lines actually tell us when it crosses from below 20 back above 20 on the indicator, so we can actually look for some of that upside on the medium term, right? The only thing that I don't like about that is these green lines can lag a little, because by the time we get to 20, we might already be at 50, 60, 70, and it could be extremely overbought if we're trying to buy this dip. So that's why I kind of gravitate more towards that R3TW. So let's take this into consideration again, right? It's a very simple chart that you can find on TradingView, R3TW. One of the best breadth indicators that I have come across to look for overbought and oversold markets. So I suggest you guys go check that out and even backtest it. See how it relates to the SPY's tops and bottoms, right? Don't take my word for it, put it to the test. So if you like this strategy, if you want to know more about internals, just let us know. Drop that comment down below and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I hope you enjoyed this short video of the greatest breadth oscillator that I have come across so far. Remember, we got a masterclass on options and futures on our website, so go check those out. And you can come check us out at our community.tradeproacademy.com, where we drop knowledge like this all the time and do analysis based on things like this. So I hope to see you guys soon, and I'll see you guys in the next video.